literally don't even know where to start, but I'm probably going to start with the most traumatic, which my adopted dad, like, that was the most traumatic. And get this, listen. Okay, so when he came over to my apartment to tell me that day, he like rang me up and he called me and he's like, hey, can I like come over and talk to you? And I was like, okay, sure. Had a gut feeling. Think that I'm crazy? Swear to God. Had a gut feeling. Get off the phone with him. I'm anticipating his arrival. I'm like peeping through the blinds. I have this gut feeling. I'm sick to my stomach. Then I hear, I go sit down, hear the car door slam. Go look out the window, see him walking up. I know what the fuck he's gonna say. I know what he's going to say. And you're like, oh, Laura, how'd you know what he was gonna say? Because he did weird shit my entire life. And I gaslit myself into thinking that maybe it wasn't weird because I didn't have a dad, so I didn't know what that relationship was really like. Okay, so I lived on the second story. He had to walk up 2 flights of stairs, knocked on my door. I'm sweating. Like, my anxiety, is so bad. I let him in. He sits down on one couch. Well, he's pacing a little bit, sits down on one couch. I'm sitting down on the other couch. And he's crying. And to think of, my adopted dad was born in the 60s. He was a country guy. He was like, you know how guys from the 60s are, how old dudes from the 60s are. So, I think I maybe saw him cry, once ever. So I thought he was having a mental breakdown, and he couldn't even speak, and I was like, say it. I was like, just say it. Say what you're going to say. Almost coercing it out of him because I was afraid that he wasn't going to say it, and I wanted to know what he was going to fucking say. I should have recorded it, but... So he says, Laura, I'm in love with you. Look at me dead in the eyes with tears rolling down his fucking face. Knowing me, literally, I'm gonna have to show a picture of me whenever I was 6 years old, but I was like, he's known me since I was as tall as my fucking knee. He's like, Laura, I'm in love with you. And I was like, oh, I love you too. And he's like, no, I mean, I'm in love with you. I would love to marry you. I'm telling you, I'm freaking the fuck out in here. But it is also giving me clarification on everything that has happened throughout my time knowing him since I was 6 years old. I blacked out after that. I fucking blacked the fuck out. I remember him me because I lived 5 or 6 blocks away from my childhood home that I grew up in. Fuck. I remember him asking me to dinner because it was the weekend. They were a horrible family, but one thing that they generally did was Sunday dinners or whatever. So he asked me to dinner, and I'm sure I said yeah or something like that. And then he walked out of my house, and I locked every fucking lock on that door, and I went into my fucking bedroom, and I locked that door, and I hid under my blankets, and I fucking sobbed my eyes out. I was hyperventilating. I was freaking out. I was in there for over an hour before I was able to do anything else than that. And I texted my sister. At the time, I was married to a man. But anyway, I texted my ex-husband, and I was like, you're not going to believe this. If you don't believe this, I'm going to fucking leave you because this is fucked up. So I texted him everything, and before I gave him a chance to even read it or respond, I was like, no, fuck this. I need to talk to somebody. So I call him, and I tell him every single fucking detail. Mind you, my ex-husband was not a good man either. That's another story. An equally as traumatizing story. But anyway, I was on the phone with him, and he was just he's like, Laura, you must be confused. Imagine a man sticking up for another fucked up man. But
why are you talking to
he's like, Laura, you have to be confused. There's got to be some... And he knows my history with these people and my adopted dad. But he's literally like, no, you're confused. There's no way. I hang up on him. I call the most important person in my world, which is my little sister. And I tell her, and she's freaking the fuck out too, because she has fucked up experiences.
Before we continue with her story, I just want to know, like, why are you calling your ex-husband? Why are you trauma dumping on your ex-husband? He's an ex for a reason. And he's also gaslighting you with your experience of what has happened to you, even after he knows what has happened to you. And you're somehow forming and telling him the most intimate parts of your life. And he wasn't a good man, according to you. I haven't even got to the best part yet, which is your adoptive dad and his behavior and the things that he does to you. And maybe it's the cycle of abuse, and I'm not blaming her. I'm just trying to understand her thinking patterns. That she's circulating herself in a pattern which is very abusive because of the men that she's been around, and she's more likely to even attract more of that type of behavior because of how she circulates herself around this type of men. She's not even conscious of the things that are happening around her because of the trauma dumping that she does on unnecessary people. You can even get a therapy. You can talk to your sister, like you said. You can talk to the most people that you trust, but your ex-husband, your ex-friends, or whatever, you leave them. They're the reasons why they're exes in your life. I'm not gonna call an ex and then tell the ex of my day and how they treated me at work, knowing the type of person my ex is. Like I said, I'm not blaming her. Like, we're gonna get to the whole story. She has a part 2 and a part 3, but I just wanted us to have like a conversation that I'm not really blaming her. Like, I understand what she's going through as a woman. I understand what happens to children, and I understand how men prey on children. And I understand. I really understand. However, what I don't understand is her calling her as. Is it because of her trauma of going back to the people who hurt her and normalizing being gaslight her whole life? It could be also trauma. Like, that's why you also need to get help. When you leave something, you get help and you work on yourself. Because working on yourself is the only way for you to get out of the most complicating situations. You won't make excuses for your even behavior, because it gets to the point that I want to bring out, because people did not even believe her in the comments. They didn't believe her. And you understand. I understand people, like, they didn't believe her for the same reasons I'm asking questions. It's not that I don't believe her story. I know what men are capable of. Like, I would ask questions like, why would you call your ex-husband? Like, why would you, there are questionable things. Even in the story, like, you would ask yourself, there are questionable things, But I'm not doubting her story. I know what men are capable of. And I also know how trauma interjects and mixes around. So I'm not doubting her story. It's just that her behavior as well, and how she handles this type of men, and how you're more likely to even attract them in your reality. You're going to attract the same man with a different personality, a different name, and a different upbringing, but the same character as your former partners, because there's something in you that seeks them, same way as you seek out your ex-husband. That's one of the things I just really don't get out of, there are a lot of things I don't get. You'll see in part 2 and part 3. Like, I'm like, girl, I really want you to get help, and just get help. Just get help, because surrounding yourself with such men will do more harm than good. They're not there to build you, especially a man that knows what you've been through, and he manages to gaslight you, just like your adoptive dad used to do, and gaslights you, and you call them and you trauma dump. And no, like, work on yourself, get some help, get the therapy. If you really that person who's social and likes people, then go get somebody. I'm not a social people, so I'm not really. Sometimes I trauma, and I trained myself not to do that anymore. So let's just continue with the story.
Okay, so where did I leave off? Okay, so I had told my little sister, we had a long conversation about what we should do, because we assumed that if we told my adopted mom that she wouldn't believe us, we had told her about multiple incidences during our teenage years and childhood, and she didn't really believe us. One time she kind of did, but then she sat us down in the kitchen with them and she's like, this is what the girl said you did. Are you doing this? He's saying no, that we're mistaken, that we're wrong, that it wasn't intentional, da-da-da-da. And that was like the end of it. But the fact that she set us down in a room with him, we were scared shitless. Like, it was hard for us to, like, muster up the courage to, like, talk about it with her, let alone, like, in front of him, you know? So, in the end, we settled on telling her despite our reservations. We just didn't know how she was going to handle it. So, I called her and I let her know that I wanted to come over and talk to her, but I asked her if she would come to the back porch and be quiet. Like, our back porch was off our kitchen. It was like an indoor back. It's where our laundry room was, but a lot of important conversations were had out there. But so we get there, she is already waiting for us, and she's like, what do you guys want to talk about? And I just spill it. I'm like, this is what happened. He called me. I ran through everything that I literally just told you guys. And she acted shocked. She seemed shocked. And she was pretty upset by the information. She said that she didn't act like she didn't believe me, which is crazy because she didn't believe me for a second of my fucking life. Generally, she wasn't a very nice or kind woman, so I was fucking stunned that she did anyway. And she kept saying that she can't believe she didn't see the signs because she was a victim of child SA. She was, which is also not my story to tell, but and so she told us that she thought that we needed to leave, that she had to have a conversation with him, and they fought like crazy, like our whole childhood, and we just knew that it wasn't going to be good. So we excused ourselves. She said that she didn't act like she didn't believe me, which is crazy because she didn't believe me for a second of my fucking life. Generally, she wasn't a very nice or kind woman, so I was fucking stunned that she did anyway. And she kept saying that she can't believe she didn't see the signs because she was a victim of child SA. She was, which is also not my story to tell, but and so she told us that she thought that we needed to leave, that she had to have a conversation with him, and they fought like crazy, like our whole childhood, and we just knew that it wasn't going to be good. So we excused ourselves. She ended up calling me the following day and saying that it's done. Like, she kicked him out, like, he's gone. And I'm like, where did he go? And she said, like, I don't fucking know, probably to Georgia, because that's where his family's from. He didn't actually have any family in the state that we lived in. All his brothers and sisters lived in a really small town in Georgia. So that's where he went to. And I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked by her doing that. She never, like, she did not protect us from anything our entire lives, no matter if we spoke up or not. And she actually was just as much of an abuser as he was. Like, the stories I have about her are just as crazy and just as wild. Honestly, I feel like I handled that whole situation really well, but like a week after it, I wasn't handling it very well. I was actually felt like I was like spiraling, and I was like full of anxiety, and I just wasn't doing good. So the phone calls that she was making to me, I wasn't answering. I wasn't answering the text messages, and she thought that she kept saying, are you blaming me? Do you blame me? Do you blame me? And yeah, I did. Like, she lived with that man, I don't know, 20, 30 years. she knew how fucking weird he was. She convinced him to shave our hair off my sophomore year, my little sister's senior year, to make us less attractive to a grown man. So back to what I was saying, I wasn't answering phone calls and texts. I think I went over there once, and like I was there for a few hours, and the entire time we were talking about that situation, and I just didn't want to talk about it. So I just really wasn't talking to her that much. Well, when everything kind of settled back down, I have no perception of time, but I want to say 3-4 weeks later, I was ready to talk. I was ready to have a full-blown conversation. So, my sister and I called, and our childhood number, our phone number was disconnected. The number that we use for like our Kroger and like Speedway pin, it was disconnected, and it hadn't been since the 90s. So we were a little bit freaking out. We didn't know what was going on. So we got in the car, we drove 5 blocks from where I lived, and we saw a U-Haul. When we saw the U-Haul, we could only speculate what was going on, honestly. I literally didn't know what was going on. I thought, oh, maybe my adopted dad is coming back to get all of his things, since he left in such a hurry. So that's what was going on in our head. Drove back home. We drive back like a week later, and the house was completely empty. No cars outside. There was a pole barn in the backyard that was like packed to the brim with stuff, because they were practically hoarders. They literally never threw anything away. So it was stacked up to the ceiling. So the door was open, nothing inside. So we like park, we get out, we're looking through the windows. It's spotless. There's nothing in there. There's nothing in there at all. So after a little digging on my adopted dad's siblings' Facebook, we found out that they packed up our entire childhood home, took my little brother and my nieces and nephews, who I helped raise, and they dipped out of the state that we were living in and took off 15 hours away. Bought a campground, bought a compound, and that's where they resided, and that's where they continue to reside. Not my adopted mom, because she passed away in July. But yeah, took my little brother that I also helped raise, and I haven't spoken to him again since I was 21.